Imagine reaching the end of your life and facing the haunting realization that the dreams, ideas, and talents within you never saw the light of day. Picture those dreams standing by your side, unfulfilled and silent, as they fade away with you forever. This is not just a story, it's the reality for too many who let fear, doubt, and procrastination hold them back. But what if you could break free from those chains? What if today was the day you decided to leap even before you grew your wings? This script will challenge you to confront the narrative you've been telling yourself and step into the greatness waiting within. Are you ready to stop holding back and start living fully? Dive in and discover how to transform your life, one decision at a time. I'm exhausted by who I am. When you say, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, that's the catalyst for change. That's when you're ready to say these words, no more excuses. No more excuses. I've never encountered a successful person who didn't possess a significant amount of self-discipline in their life. Self-discipline means being able to perform, stay on schedule, and uphold commitments. Meeting promises and deadlines is crucial for success. None of us can afford a life controlled by someone else or driven purely by our emotions. I learned long ago that there are two types of people. One type says, I'll wait until I feel like it before I act. The other type says, I need to act, and then I'll start to feel like it. One will never accomplish anything because they're waiting to feel that perfect moment to move. The other understands that they need to move first, and then the feeling will follow. Self-discipline is essential for you and me if we're going to achieve anything. So I have a challenge for each of you this weekend. It's simple. As you go through your weekend, often a bit of a break in the week, ask yourself, am I practicing self-discipline? Am I doing the things I need to do because they must be done? Or am I just waiting to feel motivated? If you're unfamiliar with this quote, live by it, and one can have no smaller or greater mastery than mastery over oneself. That's Da Vinci. He accomplished extraordinary things in his life, and I aim to achieve equally remarkable things in mine. If this is the game we're playing, if I can shape my belief system and choose at any moment to believe in something more empowering than I did a moment before, and that belief shapes my actions, enabling me to do things I couldn't before, then it's like that scene in The Matrix where Neo realizes he knows Kung Fu. It might sound funny, but that's how I view life. To me, the essential purpose of life is discovering how many skills I can develop that hold value and testing those skills for a purpose greater than myself. Stop comparing yourself to others. The first step is to stop focusing on other people and instead focus on becoming the best version of yourself. Once you do that, you'll see that you deserve a place at the table with everyone else once you become the best you can be. Once you accept that you have as much right to success as anyone else, the next step is learning to speak the language of success. You need to speak it fluently and effortlessly. Surround yourself with those who have realized their dreams and immerse yourself in an environment of achievement. The ideal way for a person to pass from this world is surrounded by family praying as they cross over. But imagine, if you will, being on your deathbed, surrounded by the ghosts of the dreams, ideas, abilities, and talents life has given you. Imagine them all. And for whatever reason, you never pursued those dreams. You never acted on those ideas. You never made use of those talents or gifts. Now picture them standing around your bed, eyes wide and filled with disappointment, saying, we came to you. Only you could have brought us to life, and now we must die with you forever. The question is, if you were to die today, what dreams, ideas, talents, books, music, leadership, or voice would be buried with you? The great orator Miles Monroe once said that the wealthiest place on earth isn't the oil-rich lands of the Middle East or the diamond mines of South Africa. The wealthiest place is the cemetery. Because in that place lies greatness never witnessed, talent and genius that was never realized, potential that was never brought to life. Perhaps that's why Henry David Thoreau wrote, "O God, to reach the point of death, only to realize that you have never lived." Maybe that's why an unknown writer penned the haunting words, what if you lived your entire life only to discover that it was wrong? That you were chosen for something else and you didn't do it? Repeat after me, life full, die empty. I want you to take some notes and reflect on your goals and dreams in the three categories I've mentioned: personal, professional, and social contribution. How many of you are truly serious about your goals and dreams? Raise your hands, please. Thank you. Now, how many of you don't want to carry your dreams to the grave? Raise your hands. Good. Now turn to the person on your right and left, shake their hand, look them in the eyes and say, get out of your head and step into your greatness. Say it now. Get out of your head and step into your greatness. Now write this down. Let's say it together as you think about your goals and dreams. It's possible. Say it together. Yes, write it down. You see, ladies and gentlemen, I've been an entrepreneur for 20 years. This is my 21st year. I could have been speaking and training for 34 years, but for 14 of those years, I was stuck in my head. 14 years. For 14 years, I held myself back. I used to go see the great Zig Ziglar, who I consider the #1 motivational speaker on the planet, along with Tony Robbins. They were the best in the world. Bob Proctor, Jack Canfield, Mark, they were all exceptional. I would watch them and leave with my heart saying, I can do that. But then my mind would step in and ask, how? How could you do that, Les Brown? You see, back in the 5th grade, I was labeled as EMR educable, mentally retarded, and I was held back from the 5th to the 4th grade. I failed again in the 8th grade and never had any college training. But one man changed my life forever, Mr. Leroy Wilson. He's in his 80s now and blind from glaucoma. But he gave me a new vision of myself. One day, while I was waiting in his class for another student, he came in and said, young man, go to the board and solve this problem for me. I replied, oh, sir, I can't do that. He asked, why not? I said, I'm not one of your students. He looked straight at me and said, look at me. Yes, sir, go to the board and solve the problem anyway. Again, I protested, sir, I can't do that. He asked why, and I told him because I'm educable, mentally retarded. I'm in special education. The other students laughed and said, that's Leslie, not Wesley, he's DT. Wesley's the smart twin. Mr. Wilson looked at me and asked, what does DT stand for? I answered, I'm the dumb twin, sir. The laughter filled the room, but he came from behind his desk, looked me in the eye, and said, don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. At that moment, I felt humiliated, but at the same time, I was liberated. He looked at me with the kind of eyes Goethe described when he said, if you look at a man as he is, he only becomes worse. But if you look at him as if he were what he could be, then he becomes what he should be. From that day, we built a relationship, and I can tell you this, as you consider your goals and dreams, we all have the ability to say with integrity that it's possible. If anyone at any point has lived their dream, then it's possible for me to live mine. But I made a mistake. I looked at my goals and dreams and let my mind ask, how will you do that? I shifted from my heart to my mind and stayed there for 14 long years. Those years are gone, and I can't get them back. So I've made it my mission to help others stop procrastinating and holding themselves back. Have you ever wanted to do something but procrastinated and talked yourself out of it? Raise your hand if you have. There's a proverb that says, if there is no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. So as you pursue your goals and dreams, remember this every day, we must convince ourselves and sell ourselves on the belief that it's possible. Every seminar I attended, every workshop, every book one read, every speaker I listened to, they all interrupted what I believed about myself. Everything you do matters. As you move through each day, I know now, looking back at my life at age 63, that everything matters. T. Harv Eker was right, how you do anything is how you do everything. I came to realize that the choices I made were rooted in how I viewed myself. So let's say it together, it's necessary. Write that down, it's necessary. As you consider your goals and dreams, it's necessary to have a strategy and a game plan to change the story you believe about yourself. This is an ongoing process, as many of us have discovered. What we achieve, what we produce, is the result of the story we tell ourselves about who we are. My favorite book says, be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. When I started working on myself, I realized I was leaving one story behind and stepping into a new one. With that awareness came the understanding that there were still things I didn't know. So I kept growing, kept developing. I related to the woman who said, Lord, I ain't what I want to be, ain't what I'm going to be. But thank God I sure ain't what I was. I realized that you have to work on yourself regularly. Write this down, mental mindset and stamina. You need this because challenges will come your way. I believe the reason most people go to their graves with untapped talents, abilities, and skills still within them is, first and foremost, they didn't know that they didn't know and thought they knew. I thought I knew myself, but I didn't know myself as well as I believed. Sometimes other people can help you reach places within yourself that you can't reach alone. Another reason people hold back is fear. I never worked for a major corporation, yet I wanted to speak for them. But fear held me back. I was afraid I'd be exposed for not having a college education. I felt inferior because of it. And that fear of failure stopped me. Lacking experience, I assumed I couldn't do it. I was paralyzed by the belief in my limitations instead of recognizing my unique qualities. You have something special within you. Just because you don't know how to do something doesn't mean you can't learn. I remember hearing you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. Say it with me: leap and grow your wings on the way down. The people who will live their dreams, the 2% who do are, and write this down, risk takers. They don't fear failure or making mistakes. They're willing to take life by the collar and confront it. There's a saying: if you're not willing to risk, you cannot grow. If you cannot grow, you cannot become your best. If you cannot become your best, you can't be happy. And if you can't be happy, then what else is there? I love what Helen Keller said: life is short and unpredictable. Eat the dessert first.